What's going on, Eagles family? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I, of course, am your host, Jimmy Smith, and with me tonight is a very special guest, none other than Gayle Saunders himself. Gayle, everybody should know you by this point, but in case they don't, why don't you let these people know who I got joining me tonight?
Representing fourth and Jawn, representing Crazy Eagle fan. Obviously, talking birds 24/7. It's an addiction at this point, but it's a good addiction to have. Not in a terrible season like this, but we're gonna look at the positives, and as always, we're gonna talk to these birds.
You know it, dude. So I want to thank you for coming on tonight. It's always a pleasure to have you. We talk every single day. Pretty much, I'm sure it is, and to have a mentor like you, to have someone like you always help steer me in the right direction. It's truly an honor and a pleasure. So to have you come on the show, it's always a highlight for me. So thanks, man.
Hey, man, anytime, when we can talk birds. I mean, we're usually doing this on the phone, but it's cool to do on video.
Exactly. So I feel that the people need to get some of that bird knowledge and maybe a little eagle sessions in, so tonight we're going to talk about, like you said, some of the positives, some of the things. Now I get it, some of you out there, you don't want to be happy about the win, you want the high draft pick, and I understand your thought process, but I also understand the thought process of a Crazy Eagles fan that enjoying that beautiful win and looking at this quarterback controversy with some kind of hope that maybe something good comes from this. So you and I have been talking. Jalen Hurts, man, let's just get right down to it. The kid comes out. We talked on the 4th and Jawn pregame show about could this kid provide that spark, that new quarterback energy, as you and Evan had talked about on the podcast. And, we felt that excitement before the game. And sure enough, this damn kid comes out and, yes, we understand everybody had issues. Oh, it's one game. The NFL defense is going to figure him out. We get it. But I want to hear Gayle's outlook on what he saw from Jalen Hurts, and I mean, what do you think the future holds for this kid?
I mean, first off, after him being drafted last year, I know we did an emergency podcast trying to figure out what the Eagles exactly did. They talked about the QB factory as an excuse, but I had to make sense of what this meant for the franchise. I mean, if you look at his ability to run the ball, people are saying, is this sustainable? But again, there's a quote that Jalen Hurts was really sticking to his guns and being Jalen Hurts. A part of his game is running the ball. I mean, 1,300 yards rushing last year. People are I'm that's who he is. Obviously he's gonna have to dial back some of those runs, but he took a tremendous amount of hits after going back and watching every single one of his games. I started to see these runs that were, the passing game would break down and he would find these running lanes, a natural runner in space. I felt can he throw with anticipation? Is he going to tight window throw his way through things in the NFL as consistently as maybe a Carson Wentz? That might not be the case. I think he can get there maybe with anticipation. He doesn't have the gun like Carson Wentz. But again, when you were talking about mental and what we've seen from Carson Wentz this year, it's surprising. It's one of the 2020 has given us a lot of surprises. But Carson Wentz this year has been one of them. But the fact that his mental, and as a rookie coming in, to me, I was looking for, is he a shook one? And that's where I was if he plays this game and isn't shook and the game doesn't look too big for him, the fact that he can stare down the barrel of a gun and then hit Alshon on the back shoulder fade, those kind of plays will make me happy because I'm at the end of the day, I'm evaluating who the future players are on the team. And it's again, I got geeked because it's hard to find things that you're excited about at this part of the season and what we're going through. But now fans are we're at a crossroads. Fans don't know whether to be happy, be sad that Wentz is in there, feel bad for Wentz that he's in there. Mind you, he has 100 million. It's gonna be okay. The draft pick, are these guys gonna really get in the playoffs? Like, fans really just don't know how to feel these days. I know how I feel, but how do you feel?
Well, like you said, I honestly, I don't even know how to feel half the time, because when it comes down to Sundays, we all just, I think, honestly, no matter what everybody says online or whatever they're feeling in the moment, when it comes down to Sundays, we want to see our Birds win. And sure, we also want to make sure that we win for the future. So there's some different opinions on where we should go. But, when it comes down to it, I think these players, as we talked about, they go out and they want to win. And I think we were talking in the pregame show, how wouldn't it be concerning if this team comes out and plays like they did, because of the fact that Carson Wentz, why couldn't he get this team going? Why weren't we able to run plays that, and there's so many questions we had, and then the kid went off, so honestly, I'm excited. I want to win. I love the win, but I also get it. I want a good draft pick. I'm more concerned with where the hell are we drafting, with who? So that's a talk for a different day. But right now we have ourselves a quarterback, drama that we talked about before the season. So I feel really lost. I'm like, do I feel happy that we have this Jalen Hurts kid? Because like you said, I know people talk about they're going to figure it out, the defenses. Well, what if he figures it out? What if he keeps getting better, which I think he will? He's shown in his first career start and then the half game against the Packers, he's got talent and he knows how to use his legs, but he also knows how to use his arm. And maybe he doesn't have the Carson Wentz arm, but I think he's going to work on things and he's going to get better. So, oh my God, I think we have a controversy on our hands, and I think it's going to be a good off season for us. But what I'm intrigued to see this week is if he goes out and does it again to the Cardinals. Everybody says he's going to be figured out in a week. So I'm excited for the kid. I'm just kind of in a mode where I'm like, hey, all the people wanted to doubt us again. Here we go again. Let's start winning, and let's see if this kid pulls some magic. We've seen crazier things in the last few years. How are you feeling about the magic thing? Do you think he can bring that?
I mean, it's like sit back and relax. Like, sit back and relax and watch, enjoy the show, without being overly judgmental and a rookie in his second game. It's like if you showed up to a job that you just got hired for, probably your dream job, right? And somebody is critiquing you heavily on the first day of your job, and you're like, bro, it's my first day here. Like, relax. Give me a chance to be great. I'm gonna sit here and be like, he was amazing, he's the next coming up. It's like, sit back and relax. It's his first day on the job. The fact that he fit right in. If you walk into your job and you fit right in and blend in, people are like, this guy just fits right in. He's jumping right in the conversation, knows what he's talking about. He's not he's not taking sacks in the break room. He's coming out here and sharing the good words, confident. All right, but I'm being real here. Like, he's confident. The one thing that Jalen Reagor and Miles Sanders were talking about, just natural born leader, confidence. He also brought that on the field in the huddle. Jalen Hurts talked about controlling the controllables. So he kept on reiterating. He's like a coach speak veteran, coach's kid. He's gonna. It can sound cliche, but I feel like he lives in that zone. And coming from Alabama to Oklahoma, and now bringing that, whatever you want to call it, swag, you want to call it confidence, or just who he is as a player. That's one of the things that they're talking about. You bring a guy like this into your locker room. Does his ability to connect with these players, does he start to win over players in the locker room? And again, we went from Foles to Wentz. Now we have Wentz to Hurts, and it's a QB battle, and our own organization brought it to the table. I saw a comment in there from Jeff. Shout out to Jeff. It says, do you guys remember when they said about Carson's concussion at the time? He was screaming and yelling in the locker room, didn't recognize his own wife at the time. So I didn't hear that. Did you hear that?
Now, I remember that he didn't recognize his wife. He didn't. He had some things going on. I don't know if I heard that he was screaming and yelling, but I definitely know he was pissed off. So maybe that kind of led into he was mad that he was out of the game. And they said it, he was confused. It was a pretty bad concussion,
And that brings on a whole other amount of things of like what is going on with Carson to the fact that he's progressing in this offense, an offense that he's been here for quite a while now. He's got a relationship with the coach. Is that twitch there, athletic twitch that he used to have? Is that there? It's kind of, I don't know. His ability to get to the first and third read seamlessly. I don't know. Is he seeing the field correctly? Are they doing the half field reads for him? Because Carson. I mean, and Doug has said it blatantly, like basically having to dumb down the offense to make like we have to dial things back for Carson. It's like pretty much a slap in the face. He's keeping it PC, but like again, like if there's something they saw, again, it didn't make sense to us, but if it makes sense to the organization, and you look at what they're paying. I mean, if we're gonna talk money here, like if Jalen Hurts becomes that guy for the Eagles, right? This is what we're paying him. He's got $1 million cap hit in 2020, 1.3 million in 2021, 1.7 in 2022, 2023, $2 million for a quarterback. That is a bargain. Now, if he plays up to his if he plays consistently in the next 3 games, and if we somehow backdoor ourselves into the playoffs, what does that mean? Like you talked about the future. What does that mean for next year?
Yeah, I appreciate it to Jeff and John and Malcolm. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I think that says a lot. Maybe there is something going on mentally. So I think we're going to have a lot on our plate this offseason. I think we all knew that anyway. You and I, we've been preparing for this offseason, unfortunately, a little sooner than I would like to usually get. But we know what's coming. We know there's lots of stuff. Excited for the draft, excited for certain things. But I think that we see right now there's still time to learn. So a lot of people get ahead of themselves. They want to just lose, and it's this and that. Look, I want to see in these next 3 games what these young guys have because we're going to have a little bit of a rebuild, no matter if we like it or not. There's been a lot of injuries. A lot of these older guys are not going to be back here next year. Maybe even some fan favorites that aren't injured, but that cap hit. So we talk about that all the time on the 4th and Jawn show. I hope you guys are checking those pregame and postgame shows. We see that there's issues ahead, but now our biggest fears have come true. We were on the 4th and Jawn draft show, and we talked about oh my God, we could have done so many things that helped this team, and instead we went with the quarterback. Now, regardless of what was going to happen to Carson, if he's here or not, we created this drama, like you just said. So I think we've got a lot of drama ahead, and honestly, I think the thing that I see the most is people want Jeffrey Lurie to fire Howie or fire Doug. I'm honestly not sure either of those things happen. I think they're going to use these excuses all year. So I think this drama is going to get even worse than we ever imagined. How do you feel about that? I mean, I know you're in the same boat with me, thinking that, this is just going to be a lot of question marks that need to be answered. But what do you think? Do you think those are 2 question marks that are still going to be here next year?
Well, I think the players in this, some of the players that, I've heard from said that they felt like Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson were on extremely thin ice. Now, if the players feel that vibe, they know that Doug Peterson is coaching for his I'm not gonna say coaching for his life because the guy's gonna get a gig, but his Eagles coaching life, it could be. I also heard that it could be one or the other. It might not be both. That's what the vibe said some of the players were having. So I mean, again, there's been a lot of when teams lose, then you hear people talking. I hardly ever hear people talking, but this year I've heard a lot of it. It's just interesting. It is interesting. I mean, this whole Carson Wentz thing is interesting. Shout out to Trox. He played golf with the defense coordinator for the Ravens, and he had mentioned how he said it was easy to defend Carson Wentz, and pretty much laughed it off. Like, the bag is out. Like how to defend against Carson Wentz. Also, coaches from other coaches in the NFC East, defensive coordinators have mentioned the same thing that we've heard from, and so I mean, is it a thing? I mean, the fact that you can defend, take away Carson's first read, throw the pressure on him, throw the blitz at him, pressure him to make mistakes. Can he get to his third read and watch him break apart? I mean, that's like, again, you saw Jamal Adams put that pressure. I think he's still seeing Jamal Adams in the sweep, and it's like that. What's that name of that movie? I See Dead People. Is Carson seeing ghosts? I mean, getting hit the most. People will say, is Jalen Hurts, is that sustainable? He's running the ball. I'm like, but is Carson Wentz getting hit the most in the NFL? Is that sustainable? Like, he's falling apart as a quarterback. He's getting David Carr to death out there. Yeah. I mean, again, it is what it is, but we have drama on our hands.
No, you're right. I mean, we talked about before the game, the excitement of what Jalen Hurts would bring, because the fact of the matter was we're going against the best pass rush in the league, one of the best defenses in the league. And honestly, we were probably going to get killed with Carson out there because, like you just said, defenses know what to bring to the table when going against the Eagles. And you could see it all year. And that's on Doug and Carson, all the adjustments, whatever people want to say about, Carson on the line, adjusting plays, this and that. Look, they have plays set up where if he doesn't see something, he's going to change it. That's something they've been doing for years. I just think Carson Wentz has definitely struggled, and we love him. Look, and I'm one of those people, but I'm not going to look past, the things that clearly were an issue, and he was one of those issues. Sure, offensive line was injured, and it was a revolving door. 13 out of 14 games is coming up here for us. But you're looking at the running backs weren't blocking, receivers weren't getting open. So there were other issues. It's just, why the hell is Jalen Hurts able to come in here and bring that spark? And not only the spark, but the ability on the field to be able to make plays. Sure, he runs and he's mobile, but I mean, just to be able to show that this team has talent to beat a team like the Saints, it was just very telling that maybe Carson Wentz has some issues, not only on the field, but in that locker room. Maybe, we talked about that divide, and sure enough, that's what happened. So I think there is a divide there, man. So not only are the fans divided, but I think the front office, the coaches, and now the players. So we're in hell. Let's be honest. Try to be as positive as I can, but this is scary. So unless changes are made, I don't know. But I think, like you said earlier in the video, when you're winning, a lot of things, they just go differently. So I think winning will help this team as much as people want to lose. Hey, let's just hope we draft well wherever we're at. But you and I talked before the show. Maybe we trade up. Maybe we trade back,
I mean, all I can say is if they catch another dub this week and they win convincingly, and the team looks like, they've picked up the pieces, especially with, injured players here and there. But if they look like they picked up the pieces and catch a vibe and they start gelling around Jalen Hurts and rallying around him with a pocket full of shells, and you ride this wave into, stacking dubs, you have a really interesting scenario, because you can't look at your locker room and say, you know what, we're going to go with, like, if this team really rallies around him. Again, we're talking about future. I'm talking about youth movement and how this team is, like, younger and they're coming together and hungry. How do you tell the locker room, like, this is what it is? And the other part of it is, even Chris Long had mentioned, like, how do you bring Carson Wentz back into this situation? Like,
seriously.
I mean,
it's like breaking up with someone and then be like, no, it didn't work out. The other one, like, it was fun, but yeah, come on back.
I mean, he was the captain of this team at one point, and he's saying that. He's saying, like, how do you bring Carson back into the situation? It's very, again, but yeah, I mean, if we're going to go back to, like, just what we saw from Jalen Hurts. You know, I went back and watched all 22, and my eyes were like wide open. Like if you go back and watch what happened, you know, he really played well. I'm not talking about like, you know, was he the best passer in the world? Did he miss some throws out there? I mean, it's one thing, but just the poise in the pocket, his ability. There's about 5 to 6 plays athletically that he made that I was like, you know what? I don't think Carson Wentz could make that play happen. And I was just like, what do those plays do for an offense that is looking for a spark? You know, he had 106 yards. It's the second most rushing yards by a quarterback in a game this year. Number one is Lamar Jackson at 108, and tied for second is Kyler Murray. So,
and I mean, you know, he brings that to the table, and look how successful Kyler Murray has been, Lamar Jackson, you know, and sure, people try to say they're figuring out what, dude, you're not figuring out Kyler Murray. That kid is fantastic. We're unfortunately going to have to battle test that this Sunday, but that's great company. And not only did he do that, but, you know, people, it's like, oh, well, he didn't have that great, what was it, 167 yards, I believe, 17 for 30, 1 touchdown, and he had that fumble loss. So people want to look at the negative there, and it's like, well, let's also look at the fact that he's going up against the Saints defense, who has been annihilating people. And we gave up 0 sacks. That's on the line. And Jalen Hurts, dude, you can't deny what you see. Like you just said, you watch the All-22, you watch the tape, and it's jaw drop, because I'm like, this is exciting. And if we do win out, if he does bring some spark, you know, that's a good thing, because we know we have a really talented guy that can lead a group of people even when they're hurt and down. And I love Carson Wentz. I truly do. But let's be real here, guys. It's a what have you done for me lately league. And it looks like there's an issue. And whoever that issue is, I'm not 100% sure. But somebody's got to go here, man. And whether that's Carson, Doug, Howie, I'm not sure. And like I alluded to earlier, I'm not so sure Jeffrey and Howie are the guys they want to get rid of. You don't just draft a guy in the second round if you don't have concerns. We talked about that, man. And it looks like they do have some concerns. One of the questions that was asked by Jeffrey was, can the Eagles restructure Carson? That's something I wanted them to do before all this talk happened. Now, that's definitely a possibility, but I don't know why he would want to do that. So he's going to get his money, dude. He already got paid.
He's going to get his money. I just think, you know, the only situation they have is Eaton, 34 mil? If they want to, you know.
Almost. Yep, like 33.8 or something.
If they cut him, it's like 59. That's not going to happen. So you're thinking that's where I'm like, if they take him off the field and like they're trying to like save value, someone else is out there in the league and like, yeah, we can. I'll trade a second for him. Then you're going to get a bidding war, and someone's going to give you a first. And if you're like the Eagles, you eat the 34 mil, which really sucks. Would really suck. And the fact that we're even talking, but these are hypotheticals here. But we're talking about the scenarios that could potentially be. Then you're going to want to get value, as much value as you can for Carson Wentz if you're planning to move on. Again, I don't know if that's, or if the other scenario is you play Hurts, he balls out in a year where not a lot of games are being played across the league in college via COVID. You're putting on a performance for the NFL in the last couple of games of the season, boosts his, because I was like, that's an excuse that I came up. I was like, maybe they know they're in a COVID situation. Draft Jalen Hurts. He gets some snaps, and in a year where the league is looking at quarterbacks, and they only have like 7 games played on the season. They need to see more. Hey, man, you seen Jalen Hurts just come in here and do his work. How much would you give him? Would you give a first round for him? Maybe.
I mean, the thing is, I've seen the Vikings trade for Sam Bradford for a first rounder. So there are definitely GMs out there that will do anything.
I don't think a team's going to do that, but I'm.
You know, all jokes aside, I always take a shot at them when I can. It's honestly, he is very talented. These next 3 games are very pivotal to his career and the Philadelphia Eagles' future, because this kid knows, regardless of what he, if he's playing here or somewhere else, like this, everybody in the world's watching. Like, they want to know what's going on, not just Philadelphia. And I think he's handled it really well. You talked about the confidence. He has that swagger that, dude, he seems like he's somebody who could handle Philadelphia. And holy hell, like, just seeing a young kid come out with that kind of poise, it's impressive. And to know that your team is literally on fire, he's just walking right in like, hey, man, I'm going to put it out. Just gets it done, dude. And you're like, what the?
The thing that I can't understand on the timeline of people who are like, you're not impressed by what he did in his first NFL game, and he went up against a top-ranked defense. It could be debatable who's the top, whatever, the top in the league. But the fact that Malcolm Jenkins was across the line, obviously, he has the answers to the test in terms of like what players are and what they bring to the table. Obviously it was Hurts' first start, and when this offense looked pretty much different. But again, he didn't look rattled, man. And that's in the whole RPO game with Jalen Hurts. Like, now it's a real RPO game. And like the one thing that I talked about as soon as he was drafted, I said I went look back and started digging in, and I was like, the mesh concepts. He's familiar with a staple in the Eagles offense. He's run different variations, and he knows that. And he came in and ran it perfectly. That you can go back and look at his college film and the fact that they implemented plays that he's comfortable with, and he's familiar with the mesh concept. They ran it to death. We ran that play over and over again in the Super Bowl. So again, like, this is what, and the fact that I'm seeing it in the first game, I'm like, bro, this is what I talked about the day after he got drafted. So like, if it's making sense then, well, I'm just trying to make sense of it. And then you're here now without Wentz. He's stepping in and
makes sense.
And his ability to find running lanes is he can find the running lanes. He sees a man situation. He's like, just don't want on the backside. And if he's got a defensive end at the edge, he's outrunning them.
He is. And, you talk about implementing things that work for him. You've been hearing it because we've been asking for it. And, why isn't Carson Wentz? Why aren't they doing things that, match his play calling? Well, maybe it's just not working out between the quarterback and the coach. And like you said, defenses have figured it out. Jalen Hurts just adds something that you don't coach. And we saw that with Carson Wentz. I'm not saying he doesn't have that, but oh my God, for a kid in his first career start to come out and take on that Saints defense like that. And yeah, sure, Doug put him in precarious positions, having him run the ball there under 2 minutes, as Jeffrey says here. I think there's some things Doug still needs to work on. So he kind of hindered Jalen. Miles only ran the ball 14 times. So more rushes, but they established the run. They did at first. They ran the ball, and that helps you establish your play action, RPO. All the things that we've been asking for all year, Jalen Hurts brought it out because he does it successfully.
Yeah. I think it's the last comment from Jeff. He says, what we saw on Sunday was an offense that Doug wants. Carson can't run it correctly. And I actually had this conversation today in the fact that, like, it for Doug, and I think the use of his legs, it hurts his legs, and he's extending plays without it looking awkward. And that's the one thing I'm like, bro, like, Carson has looked clunky this year, man.
And no sacks.
Yeah, you can't even, again, man, the timeline is so crossed up right now. Like, you could be mad at Doug, man. Like, you could be mad at the way that the offense is set up. But if Doug is not changing shit for Carson, and that's another part of the equation where I'm like, do they like each other like that? Like, coach, could you set me up for success? Can you actually add the jet sweep element a couple times? Can we run the jet sweep? Can we do a reverse and then show the jet sweep and come back differently with, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, we talk about it every week. Utilizing your first round pick. We went against the Rams in week 2, I believe it was. They showed you exactly how it was done right in our face. And we're still sitting here week 14. Like, what? Why are we not bubble screens and end arounds and all the jet sweeps?
They ran a play where the jet sweep, they faked the jet sweep and came out with an out route to like Miles Sanders in the flat. And I was like, this is great. Like, why didn't you run that with Wentz?
Seriously. And we're not the coaches, guys.
It was a quick, roll out to the, it was a naked pocket. He just went out there and it was like, where was this play earlier? We've been asking. I've been asking for, I've been like, give me window dressing. Just dummy it down for like, to show Wentz, just some window dressing. You can see what if it's man zone, like, if that's what it takes for Wentz. But bro, it's
pre-snap movement. Yeah.
Again, like you talking about Scangarello, who's got some of that knowledge from the 49ers, and you know what I mean? Like, why? Like the element of we haven't seen. Now we're seeing some elements of. We talked about Jalen Reagor comparing himself to Deebo Samuel. And I was like, have we used him like Deebo Samuel? Not at all. Maybe last week we did. Crossing routes, jet sweep, end arounds. Like, again, what week is it, dude?
Yeah, going into week 15. And literally, you guys can check out every pre-game, 4th and Jawn, post-game. It's like, what? It's literally every week we're asking, why are we not using our number 1 pick? And clearly he was out for a little chunk of time there. I get it, but he's pretty talented. The week that, I asked for him to be returning the punts, like, please put him in a position at the end of the game. I get Greg Ward, he catches the ball better maybe in positions where he's not going to return. But Jalen Reagor gets it, little Deshaun Jackson flashback, fumbling it, and picks it up, runs it for a touchdown. Use the kid.
I mean, over the last 5 games, you're trying to gauge where Jalen Reagor is at. Henry Ruggs, 13 receptions, 194 yards, 1 touchdown. Jerry Jeudy, 10 receptions, 152 yards. CeeDee Lamb, the next wide receiver taken, 14 receptions. Did I say CeeDee Lamb?
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb, 21 receptions, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Reagor, 14 receptions, 190 yards, 0 touchdowns. Last 5 games. Justin Jefferson, 31 receptions, 451 yards, 4 touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk, 36 receptions, 495 yards, 3 TDs. So, I mean, don't be angry. Brandon Ayuk, no one's talking about Brandon Ayuk, okay? But, they're probably using Brandon Ayuk correctly.
Yes.
But, again,
like 18 targets a game.
This is the last 5 games. Henry Ruggs is the first guy taken off the board. No one's talking about Henry Ruggs.
Yep.
It is, it is what it is, man. Like, no one in this offense has looked perfect this season. Not even Zach Ertz. Everyone's having career low numbers. So don't expect the first round wide receiver to ball out when no one else is being used correctly. Not even Miles Sanders.
Nobody.
Can you get the man 15 carries?
Seriously, we were asking for 20 before the season started. Now it's like, damn, here we are again, asking for the pesky 15 carries. And even with, you talk about Zach Ertz not showing up. It's like, how can Carson Wentz take the scrub teams he has the last couple of years to the playoffs and last year throw for over 4,000 yards without a receiver going over 500 yards? How the hell does a guy like this regress? So it's like, is the coaching just not up to par? I agree with you, man. I think there's some kind of disconnect, Jeffrey, and you mentioning, maybe Carson isn't fitting Doug's plan, man, because he seems to do just fine with Jalen Hurts or any other backup.
The stat is what, 11-3 with backups. And one of those was a meaningless L to the Cowboys, I think.
Yeah.
At the end of the season.
Yeah, the Nick Foles.
Again, like I don't know. It's we've had questions, and that's why we were like questioning Doug. Like, Doug, what are you doing? Like, you're not setting Carson up for success. But now all of a sudden, Jalen comes in his first start. You're like, this is what we've been asking for. But again, there are elements that I saw last week where with Jalen Hurts on the field, you must pay respect to the legs. Because if, Miles Sanders ain't getting it, I mean, you got triple option here with a run, a built-in pass, built-in handoff to, Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has been known to take it to the house this year, 82, 74, 274 yarders. Is that correct? I mean, the offense is you're right now. You're making NFL defenses defend the whole field right now,
and that's it. Right? He brings that right there to the table when you have to be like, this kid can kill me on my feet, and that's when Reagor gets behind you. So I think he's only going to improve, and Doug hopefully improves himself and sees what he has here. And I'm just trying to be hopeful here, right?
I'm telling you, I saw those when he cracked off a couple of those runs. He's smart enough to like slide or like the little things. I look at the little things like getting the first down and then he's extending the ball, getting more yardage. The fact that the dude ran QB power, QB sweep, finding open lanes in the passing game. What they had like a 4 vertical, and he saw the middle was wide open. Just darted for another 20-something yards. Obviously, Jake Elliott screwed that up. But come on, man! Like, I'm not trying to get geeks, but he showed you something.
And that's the thing. All we wanted was to see something, right? We wanted to see this whole team fight. And if it takes a rookie quarterback to get you motivated and everyone to step up, it says a lot about what's going on behind closed doors. So we're not sitting here saying this is all flowers and, peaches and we're all, The Eagles put us in this position, the management, the ownership, the coaches, whatever you want to blame it on. Dude, they put us here. We have to talk about this. You know what I mean? And I'm just excited that we're talking about a win. And we're talking about maybe some people being successful for this franchise. So if people think Carson Wentz will work out, maybe he will. Maybe we're going to take the offseason and let these guys duke it out. But that's going to come down to these next 3 games here. So yeah, I think Doug's excited too because he wants to win. I don't think he wants to lose his job. So
he doesn't. He said that it was his idea to, he was in control of who's going to start. If he made that decision, that means he's coaching, he's coaching for his life in Philly.
Exactly.
So, and again, like we could sit here and, praise him for what he did last week. And, that is what it is. But how does he rebound and how does he look when the NFL starts to like put on the clamps and put on the spy? And if he can show me that he can beat the pressure, beat the blitz, be smart with the football, get it out quickly, throw quick screens when the defenses come. Like, if he has an answer, then I'm going to here we go, next level, cat mouse. Like, I'll be excited. You know what I mean? Like, even like on the RP, he's got the hang defender. He sees, he comes up, open slant to Ertz, first down. Like, it's pitch and catch. Like, saw the read, got it done. Miss some throws. He could add some throws where he took off or a little early. But again, like if he comes back this week and shows me that, I'm like, and that they're not the Saints. They're a lesser defense. We'll see. Look at Jeff.
I mean, they've got the same, they've got some playmakers there, but they've got, Buda Baker, Patrick Peterson's Old Man River at this point, but, I mean, not saying our receivers are the best. Hassan Reddick had a great game last week. They've got the young guy, Isaiah Simmons. So I'm intrigued to see what this matchup holds, but I think Jalen Hurts could definitely ball out. It's not as great as defense as, like you just said, the Saints. So he's going to have an opportunity to put up some points. I think we're going to need to because our secondary is banged up. Sorry, I took it over a little bit. We're supposed to go a half hour here. Drug it out a little bit longer. We'll definitely get into that in the pregame show. We'll be talking about this secondary, Jalen Hurts, everything that's coming our way. So I hope you guys will definitely tune in. We go on at 10:30 Sunday mornings before the games, but when it's a 4 o'clock game, it's usually around 1:30 we're going on. So this Sunday we'll be there around 1:30. Check it out. Gayle, I want to thank you again. Jeffrey, Malcolm, everybody that tuned in. I truly appreciate it. Gayle, I'd like to give this time to you if you have any last words.
I just wanted to add that Jalen Hurts did throw at Marcus Lattimore, throw a back shoulder fade to an elderly man named Alshon Jeffrey on a 4th down, back shoulder fade. I've been talking about that back shoulder fade relationship. We haven't seen that in a minute. So again, enough of it's week 1. We're giving him his props for what he did. We'd like to see more. I'm excited to see more. Shout out to Jeff, as always up in the chat. Shout out to Jeff. Again, I'm excited. I got something to look forward to this Sunday. And as always, it's fly, Eagles, fly.
Hell yes. And that's the thing. We just want to be excited for something. And, we talked about even if we lost last week, we just wanted to see these kids play with some heart. So if we get to evaluate some young guys, see some good things, I think that's all we're looking for here, guys. We understand the frustration. This year has been horrible for all of us, whether it's in football and everything else in life. It's beyond football, but we use this as an escape a lot of times. So if you guys are ever feeling down, you need anything, you can always reach out to me, whether it's about football, anything in life, always here for you guys. Gayle, I want to thank you again. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. Tune in Sunday. It's going to be a barn burner for that pregame show. Everyone have a great night. Thank you so much. And as always, go Birds!